Hey everybody, this is Paul with the SimpleDim app, where we use PowerPoint plugin to do dimension scale drawings. And in today's demo, we are going to draw the front view of a pallet of goods that you can use in your diagrams for racking or whatever you want to use it for. And we're just going to do this live. I got the specifications for a standard A-grade GMA pallet, and we're just going to draw the front view of this. We're going to put some product on it. We might do the side view, depending how long it takes. And then that way we can start thinking about maybe next time doing some racking profiles. So this will be exciting. Let's go ahead and get started. With SimpleDim, as usual, the first thing we're going to do is set a scale. Now looking at this, the biggest dimension is 40 inches or maybe 42 inches. So here, why don't we say that one slide inch, let's make it is equal to 10 inches in, call it our drawings. So one PowerPoint inch is 10 inches. And now the next thing we're going to do is start drawing the front of this pallet. So why don't we take the stringers? We've got 1¼ inch by 3½ inches. So 1¼ by 3½ is really our space. We're just going to come up here and make a rectangle for our 1½. Actually it's 1.25 by 3.5. Gives me the stringer. So there's my stringer. Let's make that an appropriate color. Let's call that brown. This isn't a Chet palette. We'll just call it brown. Why not? And then we know that the width of this thing is going to be 40 inches wide. So the next thing we're going to do is make another rectangle. We're going to make this one 40 inches wide, and the bottom deck is 0.625, so 5/8 of an inch. And so we're going to say we have 40 inches wide, and the height is going to be 0.625. This will be a good test of our floating point operations. We'll stick that down. We'll make that have the same outline color. That's fine. And the top deck is actually about the same. It's a little different going into the page on the y-axis, but it's the same width and the same height. So we're just going to actually copy that up. There we go. And we know that the stringers are the same, so here we go. We're just going to actually offset this. Let's try our offset function, see how good we can get this. We know it's 1¼ inch, so 40 minus 1¼ is going to be 38.75. Let's try this out. 38.75 inches from the, and no y offset, so this should, yep, look at that. It just dropped the stringer right at the end of the pallet. This is great. Now we're actually going to do the same thing right in the middle. Let's see if we can do our math again. We're going to use the offset. And if I'm starting at 0 and the final is 40 and this is an inch, so we don't want this to be 20 inches in the middle. We want it to be 20 inches minus, so 0.625. I can't do the math. Let's try this. So it'll be 20 inches. See if that's a good center line. That actually won't be right. Well, maybe it is. Let's do a dimension and figure out how we're doing here. Here's our linear dimension. We can easily check this with some other tools in the, so we have 19 inches there. We're going to go ahead and check our dimension over here. 18 inches, so we see that that wasn't right. Now, I can come to my settings. We want to go a little more precise, so we can see that we actually have 18¾ inches and some amount over here. So we're actually just going to move this over. I think I still have to reset the grips, which is not awesome, but that's kind of like a function of PowerPoint. So let's pull this up here and then redrop it, 18.3. Might actually have to take out a calculator for this one. Oh yes, look at that. Oh, well, there you go. So we just did it by eyeballing it, but you could take the calculator and figure out where your center line is and do it that way. So now we have the front of our pallet. We've confirmed the dimensions. Why don't we slap some other dims on the side of that so we can see kind of how this is working. Now the snap in PowerPoint likes to go to the regular handles. It'd be nice if there was some better object snapping and right angle snapping here, but this is what we've got. Maybe we'll work on that next. Here we just go to the regular handles. There we go. So there's our palette, right? That's our front view with our entries and the dimensions of the palette. So there we go. While we're at it, let's go ahead and put some product on it. So we'll go ahead and make our rectangle. We don't want too much overhang here, so why don't we say the width is going to be 38 inches and the height, let's give it a 50-inch height. We'll say, okay, there's our 50-inch height. We'll go ahead and drop that on our palette. A little tall for the palette, but I think if you're, again, going for dimension drawings, then that's what you're going to get. So here we go. We'll grab all those, we'll move them down. There's our product, and now you can style this if you wanted to. You can make that a different fill and put a different line around it. So there's our dimensioned product and palette. Now the other thing you can do about that here is now that you've got that, you can group it. And I didn't set the aspect ratio, but just like every other shape, you can go ahead and go to your size and shape options, lock your aspect ratio, and then if you wanted to, you could shrink your dimensionally correct shape down to a point where you wanted to use it. Then you can either reset your scale or just use the dimension that you've already set to figure out how tall it is. So, all right. Now that we've done that, so you've got a palette. Maybe you don't like it being 17 inches tall. So the other thing you can do in SimpleDim is go ahead and set a dimension from a line. So if you know that the height of your product is whatever it is, let's say that your finished good height is 60 inches on top of the palette, you can actually set the scale from your line here. And so I'm going to set the scale. I'm going to say that this is 65 inches. And now if I go in and I check the scale, having drawn that to something, I can go ahead and check it out, and look, there's my palette, 65 inches, and now it's scaled in a way that if you wanted to draw racking around it or you wanted to lay these out somehow, you could do that. Okay, so that was pretty cool. We did a palette, we did some product, we showed how to manipulate scales on a page. You can start big and then go smaller, and a pretty handy set of tools. All right, that's it. Have a great day.